Right, so today's story is about a little town called Sellville. And Sellville got its name from its large prison population. It was sort of like an open-air prison back in the day, perhaps 200 years before our story begins. It was constructed of like an open-air prison, largely made up of shipping containers, which were converted into cells. It's all very futuristic. This came to an end when it was determined that all laws breed crime, and so all laws were abolished, and so there were no more criminals. The local economy, both overnight, became a lot more free market, and also a lot more, I guess, decimated. Suddenly, there was no money coming in, etc. Anyway, they rebuilt themselves. Sellville became a bustling primary goods kind of town, I guess. They took care of themselves. It turns out they had a lot of deposits of like silver and iron underneath their cells. Anyway, one day, a traveling magician show came to Sellville. And this magician show consisted of one sort of rascable older man with a great big beard and two assistants who were twins. They were about 20 years old, one man, one woman, identical twins. And their show, between the three of them, consisted of magic tricks, where the titular magician would demonstrate different abilities on his beautiful young assistants, and yeah, it was pretty successful. They were touring around the world using it. And on the second day of their performance, one of their spectators, her name is Tabitha, who had been looking on in amazement for hours at their incredible stunts, began to write a letter to her uncle, who lived in the city, about 50 miles from Sellville. And she wrote to him initially about this incredible performance which she was seeing, which consisted of the magician conducting electricity through the bodies of his assistants, apparently to no harm on their part. It was very impressive. They would light up different light bulbs and machines connected by a circuit into the assistants. And yeah, Tabitha was deeply impressed by this, largely because lighting really hadn't been working all that well for a long time. And it had been theorized that you could conduct safely electricity through human beings. But it just hadn't been done before. And Tabitha had always taken interest in this, because in her earlier life, her father had travelled in lots of different directions, searching for this incredible ability to conduct electricity through people, so as to counteract this curious phenomenon where normal copper wire, etc., just wasn't working out so well anymore. Anyway, she wrote this letter, let her uncle know about the other various news which she had, and then started to walk down towards the post office to send her letter, when from behind her there was a huge explosion at the magician's tent. She whirled around in shock as this massive cloud of smoke and fireball just reached high into the sky, and this heat wave just passed over her. She just sort of sheltered from it on the ground, and began running back towards the tent. There was no screaming, though. There was no one particularly seemed to be suffering. There were other people scattered on the ground, but they seemed unhurt, just dazed, and were similarly reacting to this terrible explosion. And so, yeah, for about 10 seconds as she ran back towards the tent. Her mind was just blank, aside from a great big question of what on earth had happened. Well, that's my story.